Have you ever noticed how certain people can walk into a crowded room and instantly draw attention without raising their voice? They don't chase approval, and they certainly don't force conversations, yet people naturally gravitate toward them. Contrast this with the alternative, overthinking every interaction, trying desperately to be funny or interesting, only to feel completely overlooked. You put in 10 times the effort, but get a fraction of the respect. We are often told that charisma is a genetic lottery, that you are either born with a magnetic presence or destined to be socially awkward. But modern psychology paints a very different picture. Personality isn't a permanent condition. It is a trainable collection of emotional habits, communication patterns, and self-perception. You have direct control over the architecture of your character and how the world responds to it. Look at this diagram of a human brain. The glowing lines represent neural pathways. Through a process called neuroplasticity, your brain physically changes based on your repeated behaviors. What we casually call personality is really just the manifestation of these well-worn pathways. Every time you make a deliberate behavioral choice, like pausing before you speak instead of rushing, you fire a new electrical impulse. Do it daily, and you physically thicken these new routes while you starve the old circuits. Your daily micro-habits are actively rewiring your brain. When you reshape these habits, you tap into evolutionary psychology. The human brain is hardwired to scan the environment for markers of survival. We instinctively trust and feel drawn to people who project emotional stability, warmth, and genuine competence, because historically, those traits kept the tribe safe. Changing how the world reacts to you requires rebuilding your internal neural architecture, shifting you from an anxious, reactive state into a deeply grounded identity. Within fractions of a second of meeting you, another person's brain scans your posture and eye contact to assign you a position in the social hierarchy. It is a rapid, subconscious calculation of your trustworthiness and status. Consider how you speak. Rapid, rushed speech sends a biological signal of a flight response. It tells the listener that you are anxious, afraid of being interrupted, and desperate to get your point across before you lose their attention. Slow, clearly articulated speech does the exact opposite. This chart maps out status psychology. On one side, the anxiety profile spikes in speed and erratic movement while taking up very little physical space. On the other side, the authority profile measures high and open posture and deliberate, unhurried actions. The slower, more intentional your movements, the more authority you project. Physical presence doesn't mean puffing out your chest or acting aggressively dominant. It is simply the external manifestation of a highly regulated, deeply secure nervous system. Beyond physical presence, there is the way you hold space for others. Most people listen just long enough to formulate their next sentence, but humans naturally prioritize conversations where they feel understood, rather than merely heard. When you give someone your undivided focus, you activate mirror neurons in their brain, cells that fire both when an individual acts and when they observe the same action performed by another. This biological mirroring fosters a deep sense of psychological safety and connection. This focus allows you to become comfortable with silence. An insecure person will immediately rush to fill a pause in conversation, terrified of awkwardness. A confident individual lets the silence breathe. They don't panic when the talking stops. Mastering your attention and embracing quiet moments shifts the social dynamic. You stop being the person anxiously seeking validation, and you become the one quietly granting authority. Look at this feedback loop. When you rely on external validation, you get a temporary ego spike, but that inevitably drops right back into baseline insecurity, driving you to seek more validation. This constant hunger for approval actively repels people because it clearly signals low self-worth. That same insecurity fuels emotional reactivity. When stress hits, a critical comment at work or friction in a relationship, the weak habit is to lash out or shut down. The mature, high-status trait is creating a wedge of time between the trigger and your action, allowing you to respond deliberately. This impulse control acts as the core engine for everything else. You cannot project warmth, maintain eye contact, or listen deeply if you are a slave to your own emotional spikes. social magnetism remains out of reach until you step off the validation treadmill. You must abandon the need for an audience to clap for you and build a foundation of internal emotional regulation. You can't meditate or affirm your way into this kind of stability. Staring in a mirror and repeating that you are confident does not work. True confidence requires the acquisition of real, tangible skills. Whether it's mastering public speaking, building a business, or committing to physical fitness, the grueling process of learning a skill creates undeniable evidence of your own capability. Your brain requires this empirical proof to update its self-belief. Without this proof, people fall into the fake charisma trap. They loudly imitate the mannerisms of influencers, monopolize conversations, and act aggressively arrogant to simulate the confidence they lack. The human brain is a highly calibrated instrument for detecting inauthenticity. We spot a fake immediately. Genuine, evidence-based competence, built in the dark through rigorous effort, is the only sustainable source of a commanding presence. The architecture of attraction ultimately comes down to this: your visible personality is nothing more than your invisible habits exposed to the world. Forcing yourself to hold eye contact or speak slowly for one afternoon is just a social parlor trick. But executing these behavioral choices daily, in low-stakes conversations and high-pressure environments alike, compounds over a year into a complete identity shift. People will not remember every word you say to them. They will, however, permanently encode exactly how your presence made them feel. Personality remains the cumulative, ongoing result of daily psychological decisions. If you want to build a stronger mind, durable confidence, and a personality that people naturally respect, subscribe to PsyPeak. Peak your mind, build your life.